Prime Minister Narendra Modi today spoke of his vision for Jammu and Kashmir to recreate it as the paradise that it once was. He also urged people to embrace each and every Kashmiri. However, despite the international attention on Kashmir, it's not going to be on the agenda when the Prime Minister visits the US at the end of this week. Today marks 46 days of restrictions in Kashmir.
It's a packed week for the Prime Minister in America starting Saturday. 2 meetings with President Trump, nearly 20 other bilaterals, and his big UN General Assembly speech on Friday, the 27th. India is clear, however, that despite the international focus on Kashmir, it will not be on Mr. Modi's agenda and any offer of mediation is off the table.
370 का मुद्दा तो एक इंटरनल इशू है। उसमें से एक मुद्दा जरूर आतंकवाद का है, लेकिन इस पे फोकस नहीं रहेगा। फोकस रहेगा कि भारत का इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एक इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमारा क्या किरदार हो सकता है, क्या रोल हो सकता है, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर इस मामले में अपना विजन प्रस्तुत करेंगे।
His schedule includes a meeting with American CEOs of energy giants on the 21st evening in Houston, Texas. On the 22nd, the big Howdy Modi community event where he shares the stage with President Trump in front of 50,000 Indian Americans. Senior Democratic lawmakers will also be there. On the 23rd, the PM takes part in a climate summit in New York where he will make a major speech. The big bilateral with President Trump is on the 24th. An investment roundtable with 40 major companies on the 25th. And his address to the UN General Assembly on the morning of the 27th, New York time, after which he leaves for Delhi. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan speaks shortly after Mr. Modi. Days ahead of his departure, Mr. Modi, on campaign mode in Maharashtra, talked about reaching out to Kashmiris, who, ironically, are on day 46 of a communication lockdown, while the entire Kashmiri opposition mainstream is still in detention.
वो विकास चाहते हैं, रोजगार के नए अवसर चाहते हैं। कल तक कहते थे कश्मीर हमारा है, अब हिंदुस्तानी कहेगा हमें नया कश्मीर बनाना है, वहां फिर से एक बार स्वर्ग बनाना है, हर कश्मीरी को गले लगाना है।
While India has support from the US and other major powers on Article 370, the lockdown in Kashmir is attracting criticism. The European Union has said, while some of the restrictions are reportedly lifted, the situation has not returned to normalcy. There have been arrests of political leaders, activists and human rights defenders. Stressed the importance of steps to restore the rights and freedom of the population in Kashmir. The UN Secretary General too said human rights must be fully respected in Kashmir, but that it was for India and Pakistan to talk, not for the UN to step in.
I go on with a clear opinion that human rights must be fully respected. That dialogue between India and Pakistan is an absolutely essential element for the solution of the problem.
With Trump by his side, Mr. Modi has clearly got strong support from the world's oldest democracy. But the world's largest democracy, India, continues to face questions over a lockdown on its own people. With Nidhi Razdan, Vijay Kumar for NDTV.
So a couple of important points over here. Firstly, there is that huge international focus which is going to happen now on Kashmir once again with the United Nations General Assembly session. India would like to believe that Kashmir is not going to come up in a very major way in bilateral talks, but it would certainly come up in terms of references by Pakistan, the Pakistani Prime Minister, and without doubt our Prime Minister as well when they address the United Nations General Assembly. Then there is the second aspect of this, and it's interesting and important, where the Prime Minister for the first time since this 40-plus day lockdown of Jammu and Kashmir has in a sense reached out. He has spoken about the need to embrace Kashmiris, about the need to make it a heaven once again. These are important statements, and we don't know what the future holds, but we can only hope that this is a preliminary step to a return to normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir. Joining us, Ejaz Ahmed Rathar. Ejaz, thanks very much for being with us. Also with us, Rakesh Kaul. Sarfraz Wani, who is an advocate of the Jammu and Kashmir High Court, Lieutenant General Raj Kadyan, the former Deputy Chief of Army Staff, also with us, as also Desh Ratan Nigam. I'd like to thank all of you very much for being with us. Sarfraz, let me come to you first. It was a small statement in the context of a larger one on Kashmir, but it in a sense, to a small extent, reminded me of what Vajpayee had once said. That outreach of insaniyat. When the Prime Minister speaks about the need to embrace Kashmiris, in the situation that Kashmir finds itself in today, is this not something to really cherish in terms of a possible way forward?
See, firstly, I am happy with the fact that even though late, the Prime Minister spoke actually after 50 days after the clampdown began on August 5th. But I am equally worried that this government, this dispensation has been reluctant in the past to keep its promises. We saw how on August 15 last time Prime Minister spoke about hugging and embracing the people of Kashmir, and later on the actual ground there were no actual impact, there were no actual steps taken. So I am worried that even though statements have come from this dispensation, but what will be the actual impact on the ground? Will this government be ready to take all those steps? Like, we cannot expect the people to embrace you, to hug you back, when we have dragged them to the Stone Age. We see how the people in Kashmir, there is communication blackout in Kashmir right now. There are no rights, there are no democratic principles in Kashmir, basically.
Okay.
We see how the mannerism in which the people are being detained, the people are being arrested, it is detrimental to democracy. It's detrimental to the democracy in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay.
Also, we have to see the repercussions it will have.
General Kadyan, a different way of looking at the Kashmir situation. Today I got a message from the Jammu and Kashmir Police where they said that here's something positive in terms of an economic contribution to the state, an employment contribution to the state. Vishnu, why don't you flash this news? And we did that. Within the next few days, more than 8,200 jobs in the Jammu and Kashmir Police post, including the posts of sub-inspector, will be filled. We've got 2 huge regiments of the Indian Army, some of the most distinguished, which also come from Jammu and Kashmir. So in terms of the way forward, aren't these attractive options where Kashmiris are engaged, where they find gainful employment, and are also signs of what we can do to try and improve the situation on the ground?
Yes, Vishnu, when we took the action on 5th of August, I am sure the Prime Minister's dream that is expressed now was at the back of their mind. This was the very purpose. And generating employment, bringing in prosperity in the valley was one of the main purposes, which had been held up for various reasons. And army, of course, already has service in the army is open to Kashmiri. There are many Kashmiris in various regiments of the army. But this will also go to other areas, not only in the public sector, but also the private sector will go in once the situation becomes a little more normal. Now, as an Indian, I feel concerned about 2 things. One, the longer the lockdown continues, the people who are otherwise peaceful and were totally pro-India, their mind also, at least some of them, will tend to get poisoned. The second issue is, while the world has supported us totally on abrogation of 370 being our internal matter, but those countries are very, very stuck up on human rights. So longer it lasts, the focus might shift there. But let's also face the fact, we are speaking from outside Kashmir. The administrators who are in Kashmir, they are also concerned about these 2 issues. And I am sure the moment they are convinced that a relaxation of the communication will not permit Pakistan to interfere in the valley, they will be relaxed. Normalcy, if we talk about the normalcy, Kashmir has not been normal for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, no state which is normal can have stone peltings and killings and terror attacks and the jihadists coming continuously across the line of control.
Okay, I want to go across.
Normalcy we haven't seen in 3 decades.
Sure.
But hopefully,
Sure. So, General, 1 second. I want to go across to Rakesh. Another statement of the Prime Minister. The decision aimed at strengthening the country's unity will also help the people of Jammu and Kashmir realize their aspirations and dreams. The decision aimed at strengthening the country's unity will also help the people, again, aspirations and dreams. The hope is to rebuild a new Kashmir, rebuild the people of the state, embrace the people of the state who have suffered for decades and turn the valley into Jannat or heaven again. How would you react to these statements by the Prime Minister today?
Vishnu, though this is not the first time PM has reached out to the people of J&K, this is probably the second time when he has directly reached out. First time he made a lecture about, with Kashmir.
The first time after the 5th of August.
After 5th of August.
That's why
reaching out to the people of Jammu and Kashmir by the Honorable Prime Minister should be largely comforting to the people of J&K in general and Kashmiris in particular. I also strongly feel that this positive intent should not be confined and should not be echoed only in the larger rallies with an small underlying tone of probably gaining some political mileage here and there. PM for some moment at certain points of time have to leave the politician behind. He has to leave the politician behind, and these intentions, these positive reinforcements, which are so welcome, have to be translated more so into action, and people on the ground have to now feel that here are the moments wherein, and comparative, when a comparison is drawn that pre-370 and post-370, most of the people I genuinely feel will welcome this, and we have to give them the chance to welcome this.
Ejaz, what do you see as the road forward? Yes, communications need to be restored. It hopefully will be restored soon. But in terms of an outreach to people, trying to get a relative sense of normalcy, what would you like to see the government do?
See, first of all is today Prime Minister Modi was saying to the people, that is well, but the thing is, first of all, he should, or the government should have worked like, why is there lockdown? If a situation is normal for us, the situation is not normal, and I think for me the term normalcy should be abrogated totally for Kashmir. First of all is that, if I will tell you, the second thing is this narrative of development that is going on, that the government is telling once more and more that we will do the Vikas, we will turn the valley into Jannat. Of course, it is fine.
The Kashmir investment summit next year has been postponed till then.
But sir, the thing is, if you will look to the present context, the livelihood of Kashmiris is being destroyed. I am coming from a family of apple growers, and we are not able to send our apples and all that to the rest of the country because it is total lockdown. Our schools is being locked out there. And if you will see,
but schools are open, people are not going.
No, sir.
Because there are threats from terrorists.
No, sir. This is totally
Families
a wrong
have been
narrative.
Killed, it's a fact.
No, sir. This is totally a wrong narrative that is coming out. It is not only
this is not a wrong narrative. There are examples of this, where people wearing black masks have gone into shops, have shot people over there who refuse to bring down their shutters.
So I want to
of others not sending their children to school because they feel threatened that there's a danger in sending children to school as well. It's civil disobedience of a sort.
The point is, the government is not trying to restore the things. No father would want to send his child to school when
teachers are attending. Education cannot suffer.
The government schools are not the only schools in
Jammu
and Kashmir. We have government schools, we have private schools. We have to see when there is communication blackout, when there is no transport, who father would send his child to the school without any contact.
Ejaz, you want to finish your point?
The government has...
Sir, so I'm coming back on this narrative. The thing is that it's not only the schools. It is, if you will see the daily life of the Kashmiris, if you will see the reports of tortures, if you will see the reports of mass arrests coming out from the Kashmir. And as far as this development is concerned, for us,
every single report of torture has been denied.
No, sir.
And we don't have information one way
or
the other.
No, sir. There is a reporting from Washington Times. There is a reporting from Al Jazeera. There is a reporting from BBC.
Each of those has been denied.
Sir, the state is denying, but there are reports. And the second thing is, on this development, I want to say only thing: we want our natural rights first of all, and the second thing is this enslaved. This is a form of enslaved prosperity. We call it as an enslaved prosperity, and for us, first is the livelihood of the people and the natural rights of the people that has been taken out.
Okay. Deshratan Nigam, what happens next? Assuming political leaders are taken out, dissent is restored, it will be one way or the other, despite what the centre says, then what happens looking ahead? I mean, how do you see what the Prime Minister
what
said
you
today?
call a lockdown, what I see is the movement from a complete restriction to easing of restrictions on the 46th day. only 12% of the valley is under restriction, Ladakh and Jammu.
Yeah, that was never really, Ladakh was never a factor.
And only 12% of the valley is under, some kind of, real restrictions. The rest has been eased out, movements are taking place, even the students, senior students.
That's several million people still.
Yes, it's fine.
So
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
See, you have to balance out. One is the threat of terrorism. You saw the killings that have taken place. So that aspect also has to be kept in mind. And people, instead of opening their, shutters of the shop, they are, piling up their apples and fruits in front of it and selling it, which is the report from the ground, which means they are also following the dictate of the terrorists not to open, but somehow they want a normal life for them and a livelihood also. So they have found a novel way of, selling their produce on the streets rather than opening the shutters. Now, at the same time, this outreach by the Prime Minister is an emotional connect, saying to the Kashmiri people, 1.3 billion people are behind you and we are working towards a solution out here. Yes, political leaders will have to be, released someday, but that day has to be seen when it is appropriate. Right now, even suppose if they are released and terrorists kill one of them, the entire blame will come on the state. Please remember that. So it is, government is being very cautious right now, and it is taking steps, and communications are being restored, landlines have been restored, certain areas have been cleared. So it has to be a balanced approach. You can't say suddenly, leave it open.
It's a balanced approach now. For more than 40 days there's been a shutdown.
Yes,
right?
no,
so I mean, how much longer?
See, when you are saying 40 days, please remember that there has been a continuous easing in those 46 days.
No, but there,
please remember that
people remain behind bars or sub jails.
No, the fact
there is no dissent on the ground.
Let me tell you, there have
yes, schools are open, but it's not normal.
Yes,
jobs may be open, it's not normal. Transport is certainly not normal. Internet is not functioning.
The point is,
it's not normal. That's all I'm saying.
Nobody is saying.
I'm not close to normal.
No, I'm not saying it is absolutely normal, but it is towards normalcy. What you saw on 5th, 6th, 7th August and what you see now, there is a marked
Would you like to
change and
respond to
marked difference. One thing, and secondly, schools, as I told you, senior students have taken the exams. Private buses have started plying on the roads, which was not the case before. And therefore, to say that it's becoming worse, no, it is becoming normal day by day.
Okay. See, the point is, this government has subverted all democratic principles. See, we have to see anybody they can come up and arrest in Kashmir. They are detaining people under detention laws, they are detaining people under Public Safety Act. And later on, if the government of India has taken some decision for the people of J&K, so it has to communicate to the people that this decision is for your benefit. Today, Prime Minister of India came up and spoke
in Nashik.
In Nashik, and I fear that almost majority of Kashmiris don't know about it because there are no communication lines.
I think that's an important point. And last word, because I'm running out of time, to General Qadian. General Qadian, do you not believe that this is the time now for a direct message, a much more direct than what the Prime Minister has said, to people in Jammu and Kashmir, explaining the road forward, explaining the path to normalcy? So far, nobody has done that.
I think Prime Minister's message is very, very timely. 40 days is a long time. People will believe the Prime Minister. He normally does what he says. And once the results start showing on the ground, that is where the people will actually get convinced. But Prime Minister's message is a very good addition towards that end. Now, what I am saying is that normalcy is returning gradually. Nobody is saying situation.
No, I'm saying, sir, General Qadian, do you not believe there need to be more statements and a more direct statement by the Prime Minister beyond something that he said in Nashik? A direct statement to people in Jammu and Kashmir on the road ahead. How many more days? What is the path going to be? What is the political process? We've heard the word embrace, which is great, and because the people in Kashmir have not really had very much more to go with. But more than this, can we expect something?
Yes, I think anything that can assuage the hurt feelings of the Kashmiris should be done, including the more statements by Prime Minister. I am with it. Kashmiris must be convinced, and nobody other than the Prime Minister can convince them. that they are as dear to us as a Bihari or a Karnataka man or a
Well, one would
Tamil
certainly
man.
hope that that
There
is the
no
case, and
difference
that
between Kashmiri
we
and the
look at
other
Kashmiris
Indians.
in the
That
same
is the
way
best.
that we look at Biharis and anybody else. It's not us versus them, it's all us. I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us. It's a small statement by the Prime Minister, but one only hopes that it's a statement towards a certain objective in a finite period of time. We will keep tracking this story and indeed others. Out of time tonight. I'll be back on Monday on Left, Right and Centre. Till then, goodbye.